Welcome to the Miracles and Millions Show. This is your go-to show for living a life of miracles, where we're taking the limits off what you believe is possible. It's time to play big, be bold, and shine bright. I'm your host, Michelle Humphrey. Hello, and welcome to the Miracles and Millions Show. I love being your host, Michelle Humphrey here. And in this month of July, how could we let the month go by without connecting and talking about freedom and how to tap into more freedom to create more miracles and millions in your life? So here's what prompted it, started it, and has me so connected to this message of freedom. Very simply, in the very beginning of the month, when I was looking at what do I want this month to be about, I really like to theme my months. And it became very obvious to me that I was not feeling as free as I wanted to be. What has created that? It's still this ongoing experience of COVID is hugely creating that. Actually had a trip to leave to go to Cabo the end of June, and we were supposed to be coming back July 4th. And days before the trip, we found out it was canceled. And that just kind of threw me into enough already. I am way over this COVID experience. And I started to really realize that my freedom has definitely been interrupted. Like all of us, right? The need to wear masks. I live in California, which is still, a mandatory state for wearing masks. They have still quite a few restrictions and can't really do everything that I want to do yet. And started to get in my head about it, especially, like I said, after this trip to Cabo was canceled. We had moved it around a few times, and the government in Mexico was like, no, keep it. We're going to be opening the country so soon. We rely on tourism. So we did, and we bumped it, and then we couldn't get there. So hence the theme for this podcast is about freedom. But here's what I want to celebrate with you. Often in our life, when we are bumped up against not feeling the way that we want to feel or not getting what it is that we want to get in this life, that really opens the door to knowing more of what you want and giving you really the tools and the opportunities to go after it. So I'm going to explain that really well. So when this whole thing happened at the end of June and I wasn't really feeling the freedom that I wanted to, and here I am, July 1st, and what is this month of July going to be for me? And I knew it was freedom. So I decided to, every day, I'm going to meditate on freedom. I'm going to do a Facebook Live every single day on the theme of freedom and how free that we are. And I'll tell you how it started off for me is by faith. It was, I'm not feeling that free, but I'm going to focus on the power of freedom. And I started really looking at what is going to make me free. And I was reading some passages that I found I'm a huge fan of Ernest Holmes and some of his writings. And as I really dove into that, a couple quotes from him. So even think of this. This is the quote from Ernest Holmes. Even the spirit does not seek to control us. It lets us alone to discover ourselves. And what that means to me is we are free to be who we are called to be, regardless of outer world circumstances. What I've understood for years, probably decades at this point, it's an inner world job, meaning what are you saying to yourself? What are you feeling? What are you focusing on? How are you feeling inside of you, in your mind, in your heart, in your soul? And if you don't feel free inside of you, none of the outer world circumstances are going to allow you to feel free. Even if we weren't dealing with COVID, even if, you had everything that you can do exactly when it is that you wanted to do it. If you're not feeling free on the inside, your life's not going to be that happy. So I started looking at, my gosh, it's an inside job, and I'm going to literally stop giving my power away to the outer world and claiming or thinking or feeling that I'm not free. And what this book also helped me to remember is back in 2007, so my goodness, 13 or so years ago, I was asked to be a speaker in New Zealand, and I traveled down there, and it was just a gorgeous experience with me. I was met by the mayor and these gorgeous indigenous people called Morais. And these people, they're indigenous Polynesian people that make up now about 16% of the New Zealand population. They're also in Australia a little bit. There's a few in the United Kingdom, and there's really just a few thousand here in the United States. But I was asked to come over because I was in a film called Pass It On, and it was all about helping to pass on skills, strategies, insights to how myself and multiple incredible people like Reverend Michael Beckwith and people like John Assaraf, people who had been in The Secret like Bob Proctor, we all came together and we were in a movie called Pass It On. And I had some people who, found me on, social media and then asked me to be a speaker. And they put on this incredible event that I was a speaker at, and the mayor honored us. And the most incredible part about this is we were honored by the indigenous people, and I was able to enter into their homeland where some of these people still live in the outdoors. And I went into this gorgeous teepee tent, and it was so incredible. I mean, it was huge. It was beautiful. It was, entering, I had to, really cleanse my energy, and I had to take off my shoes, which was kind of funny in itself because, you could probably picture I was a woman speaker dressed up really nice in a suit, and I had these gorgeous velvet patterned shoes that I really wanted to wear, but they were shaped more like boots, and it was cold when I went over there. So I was able to put some socks on, and I had these hot pink fuzzy socks. And when I was asked to go into this teepee, they said, "Oh, well, you can't enter with shoes. You need to take off your shoes." And I'm thinking, I can't take off my shoes. I have hot pink fuzzy socks on right now. And I was like, really? I'm like, is that the requirement? And they're like, yes. So here I am in this gorgeous, and it was kind of more of this brown, gorgeous mocha color suit that I was wearing. And there's Michelle. And I didn't want to take off my socks because it was quite cool on the floor. And I was like, all right, we're just going to do this whole talk, the speech that they had hired to bring me in for, in my gorgeous suit and my hot pink fuzzy socks. So everyone loved it. People were cracking up, laughing at me. They even took a picture to put in the newspaper and we need to include your socks. I was like, oh my God, please don't. But in the end, it worked out really well. But here's my point. I got to speak to these indigenous people of New Zealand and to see their hearts and who they are, and what they so represented is freedom. The freedom to be all of them, the freedom to love with all of who they are, to be the elders in the community, to raise children that loved God and loved the planet and loved people. And they were so rich in energy and abundance of their time, and they lived a life that they had everything that they wanted. And one of their sayings, their proverbs was, "Turn your face to the sun and the shadows will fall behind you." Turn your face to the sun and the shadows will fall behind you. Whereas they were always about looking forward, looking towards what it is that you want to create. And I bring that up today because here we are in this month of July, 2020, dealing with world challenges that seem so frustrating. So, they could anger you, they can sadden you, they can overwhelm you, perhaps all these emotions that I believe most people, have not been so bombarded with energies of challenging times than we have in these last few months. And I want you to hear this energy that I'm communicating from the indigenous people, the Morais of New Zealand, to turn your face to the sun and the shadows will fall behind you. And what that means is turn your face to freedom, turn your attention to how free we are. I'm going to suggest how alike we are, how loving we are. Turn your face and your energy towards what it is that you want, and the shadows fall away. And so what happened for me over these last couple days is focusing on freedom and wanting to feel so free in a world that wasn't feeling so free to me. And here's what happened. I got in tune with, well, what's causing me not to feel free? And especially because this trip to Cabo got canceled and, several other restrictions I feel that are going on because of COVID and just things that are going on in the news. It was just this unrest inside of me. And I got caught up. I got caught up in what was versus what it is that I really wanted to feel. So I moved through these frustrations, honestly, and even levels of anger. And then I had sadness. And as I welcomed that and didn't make it wrong, didn't judge it, didn't, do anything other than love the energies that were going on inside of me, I was able to calm my energy down and ask, okay, well, what is it that I wanted to feel? And really free is what showed up. And I was like, okay, well, why do I want freedom? And it was, well, freedom to feel the way that I want to feel, freedom to do what it is that I want to do when I want to do it. And as I tuned into that and going, okay, maybe not everything is totally free right now as far as doing what I want to do when I want to do it. But I'm like, I have full charge to feel the way that I want to feel. And it was like, okay, what do I want to feel? And it was like light and bright and loving and joyous and healthy and abundant and all these feel good feelings, which I know we are all wired to feel. And I started focusing on that. And I got literally, as I call it, out of my head. And I went up into, if you will, source energy, that higher self. So little strategy here is your thoughts really reside within your head. If you think of your brain is where the pain is, we can generate so much pain. So what you can do is literally mentally get out of your head and go up. And whether that's a couple feet, couple 100 feet, doesn't matter. Go up to however you sense it, a place that's outside of your body into, if you will, going up towards the sky, source energy, sense there's lightness all around you. And sometimes, you can feel it just, a couple inches outside of your body. Sometimes most people, it's at least a couple feet, 20, 30, 50, 100 feet, 2,000 feet, 10,000 feet off the edge of the planet. Go wherever it is that you're guided to sense this. Oh yeah. Take a breath energy. And I did that. And as I realized, my gosh, I am so free. I am so free to feel the way that I want to feel, which are these feel good feelings, which is what every single one of us want to feel. And I'm not ignoring or denying or resisting anything, but when you go up and you sense the way that you want to feel as one strategy, there's multiple strategies, but this is one that I've really come to use practically on a daily basis. It's how I can get into super deep meditations and get out of those busy thoughts and I just relax into it. I breathe into the way that I want to feel. And I felt, not only am I free, I literally felt that I was soaring, right? And what brought that energy into me so strongly was many years ago, I did something where I really discovered my spirit guide, my animal spirit guide. And that animal for me is an eagle. And I've always had a strong, affiliation, I guess, at some level with eagles. I remember as a child, my grandparents used to take me to this natural animal reserve, and I used to love going there. And I loved absolutely everything about it except for seeing this eagle that was caged. And I just so remember thinking, an eagle is not meant to be caged. It's meant to be soaring. It's meant to be free. And I didn't mind seeing the owls or the raccoons or, all these other animals, if you will, in the cages. That was fine. And they did it in a very beautiful way. And they gave them these large dens and, little cages that they were in. But the eagle, I was like, no, why do they have an eagle? And I just wanted that eagle to be free. And so many different references of my life with eagles and how I feel in some of my toughest times, I've noticed an eagle, or I've remembered an eagle and the power of the eagle and our national bird, if you will. And just in my heart, I love eagles and the power and the majesticness of them and the soaring and how they're different. And if you will, the head of the food chain with all the birds. And I know I've just always loved it. So this energy of soaring comes to me and I'm like, wow, I am free to soar. I'm free to soar right now. And it was just this gorgeous feeling. And I want to inspire each of you to to tap into this freedom, to tap into this energy that you can soar, that you can shift your perceptions in ways that really benefit you. And I'll give you another, if you will, miracle. Remember, we've shared, in the Miracles in Millions show, miracles. What creates miracles? There's shifts of perception. There's shifts in the way that you change the way that you're looking at it. So in many ways, what you're looking at, it changes. So here's an example. Actually, this just happened yesterday. It was such a gorgeous day, and actually another gorgeous day here in San Diego, California. And we have a great lounge chair in our backyard, and it was just calling me, like, I'm going to lay out in my lounge chair and I'm going to soak up some sun. And no exaggeration, I was there for like 5 minutes, and the neighbor's landscaper showed up, and all of a sudden it was like, with the weed whackers and the blowers and the this. And I mean, it was so loud because their backyard bumps up against my back fence. So, I mean, it sounded like they were 10 feet away from me. It was so loud. And I was going to just really jump up and like, all right, forget it. This isn't going to work. And something crossed my mind that I had learned years ago in a meditation class. And someone said to me, let thy noise be thy meditation. And I had multiple references where I really wanted to meditate, but it was so noisy. And the first time that happened to me, I was on a plane and I just was, oh, great. We have this flight from California to Florida, and I'm going to meditate on the plane. And I was flying to Orlando, California to meet up with my family. And this is kind of funny, but I mean, half this plane was kids. No exaggeration. I was flying into Orlando for a spring break, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like every single person is going to Orlando right now for spring break, and half of them are kids. And I didn't think I was going to be able to meditate because it was so loud on this plane. I mean, kids were screaming. I've never heard a plane louder. And I was so kind of disgusted, if you will, and like, wow, it's going to be a long flight and 5+ hours of this, that, and the other thing. And I so wanted to meditate. And I had remembered the same thing, let thy noise be thy meditation. And I got into such a deep meditation in spite of the noise. So much so that I literally, for a period of time, maybe a half hour, 40 minutes, I don't know the exact time, I totally blocked out the noise. I wasn't sleeping. I was so deep in a meditation, and I had remembered that. So here I am yesterday, like lying out on this lounge chair, and I'm so comfortable and so warm. And then these landscapers show up, and I just said to myself, you know what? Let thy noise be the meditation. And as opposed to being annoyed by it, I listened with not a good or a bad or a right or wrong. My point is, I shifted my perception. I was hearing it, but it wasn't triggering me. I was noticing the sounds, but not in a way that was irritating or bothering, but just was. And it was so interesting because maybe it was another, 8, 10, 12, 15 minutes or so. I was laying there and it was still noisy the whole time, but it wasn't irritating. And I was also hearing birds, and I was hearing other sounds of like nature and some people talking and cars off in the distance, and, just really taking it all in without a judgment, without a good or a bad or a right or a wrong. And then I had the thought, okay, God, like I'm getting a little hot out here. And I was going to get up, but I was so enjoying the comfort and the warmthness of everything. And when I said, oh, like I'm kind of getting hot, within seriously 10 seconds, all of a sudden the sprinklers came on, and it was just like sprinkling on me. And I just thought, well, thank you. Thank you for cooling me off. And I really had this feeling of the entire world is conspiring to help me. Just the second I said I was hot, boom, here's a solution. Here's the sprinklers coming on. And I really just enjoyed being, sprinkled on, right? So that was really fun. And then here's how I'm tying it all together. All these things with like COVID and what's going on right now in the world, it was, suppose it just was. Suppose we allowed ourselves to say, hey, that's just where we are in this moment in time. And that, you know what, if we need to wear masks or certain things aren't opened or, they're not available to us, that, you know what, it's just where we are right now, but not to resist it, not to get mad or uptight or annoyed or bothered or sad or upset or anything. And when we free ourselves, right, which is this month of freedom, when we free ourselves from being so hooked into what's going on, we can allow ourselves to connect with the feel-good energies. We can connect with love and joy and peace and happiness and health and be the leaders, truthfully, that this world is calling us to be. If there's ever been a time in our history where we as a society are being called to be leaders and come together and celebrate who we are as people, who we are as a nation, as a world, the time is now. And that's what I want to communicate. It's this: let freedom ring. Let us really be free to be the people that we want, not focus on the past, not focus on what is, but really connect with who we are in the soul of us, because we have a divine nature to be free. We have a divine nature, the freedom to be alive, to enjoy living, to enter into activities in our everyday living with enthusiasm, with passion, to create a better life. And the more that we focus on all of us, that we get to do that and the will of God be done in each of our lives. And we, again, are free in the freedom of God. And today that you claim, I am free to manifest in joy with deep gratitude, deep appreciation, deep aliveness, that we are going to live and create the life and the lifestyle that we really want. We are free to feel the way that we want to feel. And the importance of feeling more of the way that we want to feel, again, the love and the joy and the peace and the happiness and the health and the abundance and we're all one under this gorgeous one sun. We are one on this planet. And if we allow ourselves to see that and to feel that and to celebrate that, we're going to create more miracles and literally magic. And the millions comes from the millions of blessings, the millions of opportunities to work together to create a life and a lifestyle that we love. And the more that we celebrate each other and celebrate who we really are and who God has created us all to be, the more we'll live a life of miracles. So wishing you a month of freedom to be more of who it is that you're called to be, feel the way that you want to feel, and doing the things that are really going to benefit you, people that you know, the community, the world. Let's live a life of miracles. Let's shift our perceptions to wake up and be more of the people that God has called us to be, and we'll be a better planet because of it. Wishing you so much love, so much light. Remember, we were meant to live light. We were meant to be bold. We were meant to be limitless. That's inside each and every one of our hearts. That's why you're here listening to Miracles in Millions, because you have greatness inside of you. And if there's any way that I can contribute to you, you can certainly go to the Miracles and Millions Facebook group. You can DM me. We can get an email to me at Michelle, MICHELLE at True, TRUE, World, WORLD, Global, GLOBAL.com. The reason my company is called True World is there is a world that is free of the fears and the doubts and the worries and the guilt and the stories and the limiting beliefs. And when we free ourselves from that, which is, I believe, we're all meant to do, we wake up to who our true selves really are. So it's all of us living our true selves in this true world. And I see that as a global reality for all of us. So with that being said, wrapping you in love and light, it's a pleasure being here for another episode of the Miracles in Millions. Enjoy your day and live miracle-minded. Be a part of the conversation on Facebook and become a Miracles and Millions manifester at michellehumphrey.com/connect. Let's play together, because living miracle-minded is the gift you give yourself that has a massive impact on others and paves the way to make you millions. Your time is now.